On Monday, Donald Trump's lawyers filed a notice with the Court of Appeals in the state of New York that they were officially going to appeal the New York fraud trial ruling. Now, once Eron handed down his decision, the clock began ticking. And according to the estimates, Donald Trump is being charged roughly $112,000 per day in interest every day that he doesn't pay that $355 million verdict against him, which will eventually add up to about another $100 million. So technically the ruling is about $455 million. Filing a notice of appeal does not stop the clock on that interest either. And based on the appeal, what reporters and legal experts have gone through, they don't even ask the appellate court to stop the clock on the interest. Maybe that was an oversight, but that seems like not a smart decision. Either way, the interest is still accruing. But what's even more interesting to me, because obviously everybody's talking, oh, he's appealing it. They filed a notice of appeal, okay? Let's first get that straight out of the way. Secondly, they didn't put up the cash. There is not a single report I have read, there is nothing I can find indicating that Donald Trump put up the cash that is necessary in order for him to be able to appeal it. Nothing. Because let's not forget, here's how this works. In order for Donald Trump to appeal this ruling, he has to take a sizable chunk of the $355 million judgment, not including any of the $100 million in interest. He's got to take a portion of the $355 million verdict and put it into a court-monitored escrow account to show that, yes, I have the money, yes, I can pay it, and I'm not just appealing it to avoid having to pay it. Now, we don't know what that percentage could be. It could be 100%. It could be 50, it could be 10, it could be 1, but either way, nothing indicates that Donald Trump has actually put any money or assets into an escrow account, which means this appeal cannot technically at this moment even move forward until he does that. That is the most important thing to understand about this. The notice of appeal is not necessarily the official filing. So a lot of misconceptions about all that. Secondly, and I feel like this is something I'm probably going to have to discuss a lot in the coming years, an appeal does not allow Donald Trump to retry the case. What his legal team will have to do when they go to the appellate court is prove that somehow, some way, Eron or Attorney General Letitia James screwed something up that could have the potential to undo the initial verdict. So if they're not able to prove that Eron screwed up, if they're not able to prove that Letitia James screwed up, then the appeal will get dismissed. Again, they don't get to retry the case. You can't go to the appellate court and just say, well, I don't like their ruling, I want a different one. That is not how the appellate process here in the United States works. You have to be able to prove that something happened that had it not happened, and what happened was wrong, you could have won the case. If you can't do that, this thing is going to get laughed out of court in a matter of days. But Trump's lawyers, according to the filing, are planning on arguing that Eron illegally somehow did not go with an appellate court's previous ruling from last year that said he had to narrow his scope due to statute of limitations. Which, by the way, for all practical purposes, based on everything we've seen, he actually did do that. He did narrow the scope. So that claim will fail on its merits because he did. They even mentioned that, by the way, at one point when a witness was being questioned, Eron had to be like, nope, hold up. We can't talk about those years because of the statute of limitations. So we already have evidence in trial that Eron did go with the appellate court's ruling about the statute of limitations for certain years of alleged fraud. So that one's out of the way. Second claim they're making is that Letitia James used a law that's typically, that's the word they use, typically used to protect consumers. So she used the wrong law, or a law that's not usually used to go after people like Trump. That argument is also dead on arrival. So he didn't put up the money, so the appeal technically cannot go forward. The two legal arguments he wants to make have already been debunked. So all he's doing is delaying the inevitable, And while he delays it, he's being charged $112,000 a day in interest. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.